What's up, guys? JH. Live life to the fullest. Put some good back in the world. That's how I wanted to, put the title, but it was too long and all that. But I always want to put some good back in the world. I'm scratching my back in case anybody was wondering. But I always want to put some good back in the world. If I can do good, anybody can do good. And I want to put good back in the world. I don't have a dark soul. I'm not a bad guy. Just because I had a bad past, it doesn't mean I'm a bad person. People look down on people that's been incarcerated and all that shit. But I've saw some of the best people you ever know. And for a second, they lost their mind and went insane. Took a life, and now they lost their life. But the best people you ever meet, they wasn't no real killers. They just was a killer in that instant. Caught their wife cheating, done something bad. But this video is going to be Jailhouse Religion. I think that's what my other one was going to be on, but this is going to be the video, Jailhouse Religion video. So, I've already seen it, already lived it. Let's tell this story all over again. Let's start thinking about it again. So I would watch people when they call for church. Church! Anybody going to church? They getting ready to call church. Everybody getting stop doing what they doing, because if they call church, you can meet with other people in other pods. That's when the trading, that's when all the dope, that's when everything goes on. You know what I'm saying? They don't check nothing. They ain't giving a shit. So that's when everybody goes talk to somebody they ain't talked to in a long time. Meet up. Hey, dap up. What's up, man? I ain't seen you forever. What's up, brother? You doing all right? Yeah, I'm doing good. You? Yeah, I'm straight. So that's when all that would take place. There was no church. You understand what I'm saying? There was church people there from the outside, but they was not being paid attention to. There's always an officer there, but they ain't about to get into it with somebody and have to pepper spray and have to do all that shit. They don't give a shit. So they close the door up, everybody chatting up. Dude's trying to talk. Dude's like, all right, let's be quiet, let's do this. Man, we live here. We ain't paying you no mind. And that's how it was. So we was in church one day, and I guess that, there was a couple gay guys that got separated prior to my getting to this jail. And they went to church call. I believe this is in Fulton County at this time. And they go to church. Or if you don't know people, you can go do a little. And by wreck, it's a stone cage with a whatever chain link fence over it with big metal beams across it, and you can see the sky, and that's it. Everything else is concrete. Now, the women's cell is in that rec room, one of the women's side. It's in there. You would think you would want to see stuff like that. You would think that. And these dudes in there, they did. They got hit to stuff. So they took all their windows out and put a window slide in that couldn't be touched. Like, you couldn't peel it back to see in. You couldn't do nothing because it was on the inside of glass. Like, it was triple, quadruple pane, whatever. But anyway, people go to church. Sometimes they'd have church outside on the rec thing. If you was good enough, didn't cause trouble, they'd lock them out there. Now, mind you, sometimes when they called church, it was dark. It was getting close to dark. It was evening time, It was at the least evening. So it was shady, and sometimes you could see the night sky. It was cool out, They'd let us do that on summertime, because we didn't have to lock down till around 11, and then on weekends, 1, 2 o'clock, if they locked you down at all. The weekend just depending on what guard. They didn't give a shit on the weekends, really. Because they got too much going on. Visitation, all this whoop-de-whoop, whoop, whoop, whoop. So, this is in Fulton County, I believe. But you can go to church and meet up with people that work outside on the road crew. This would be how I figured out. I was only there a couple weeks, like I said. They shipped me because I had my seizures. So, I would learn that, you know, this is how they had a lot of stuff at this jail. Now, mind you, this jail is big. They had an annex building, which is where they housed the workers. They had a SAP building, which is where they, you know, put you for SAP. Supposed to rehabilitate you and all that. I done SAP. I done all that. But the SAP I done wasn't for the weak of heart because it was fresh, it was new, and yeah, we'll get to that story for sure later on. But anyway, jailhouse religion will fool you. That's the worst thing you can have is jailhouse religion. Get in there, you ain't got nothing to do but think about what you did, about your charges, about everything you done. What time am I going to get? What am I going to do? Turn to God. Man. Unless you're going to church to see your homeboy and stuff, you ain't going to church. Unless you're going to church to see your homeboys and stuff. The most religious people in there, watch out. Watch out. And I'm going to give a PTSD alert right here. Because Chos can be, that's what Chos do. If you see a Jehovah's Witness book in church, most likely that dude's a Cho. Most Jehovah's Witnesses are very bad people when it comes to underage people. And that's all I say, so Facebook or YouTube don't try to demonetize me, or when I get to the point to where I can be monetized, they throw me a bone, you know. So I'm trying to keep it real and as soft as possible, you know, on the going in on stuff like that. But anyway, so what would happen was these people that you go in there and meet up, talk with, whoop, 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 hey, what you doing? Yeah, Dap, yeah, what's up, man? No, I ain't talking to you. We ain't paying no attention to the preacher up there. All right, but the people that are paying attention to the preacher, bro, when I tell you the people that go to church in there, they turn to religion for real, like try to turn to religion. They're trying to throw you off because they are Chos. And for those of you that don't know who that is, they like, I don't even like saying stuff like this. I don't even like talking about it. It makes me sick to my stomach. Anyway, they like, you know, young, 13 under, whatever, you know. If you don't know what I mean by now, then I can't say. Sorry. So we start peeping that, you know. And these front row guys are paying attention, and we're back here hooting and hollering and kicking it and doing whatever we want, you know what I mean? And then we start, that dude's in our cell. Oh, you didn't hear? You don't know what he's in here for? He's in here for whoop, 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 whoop. For real? Yeah, dude. See the book in his hand? That silver book in his hand. Notice how he falls back, talks to the preacher after. Dude's in my cell. He's in my dorm. Let it be known. I was like, man, I can't lie. I ain't gonna gossip. I gotta see the papers. I gotta know. So me knowing this, I go back to the cell and I hit that dude up. yo, man, what are you doing? I knock on his door. Hey, yo, what's up? He said, I wave my hand. He's like, yeah, come on in. I go down. I sit down on the little metal thing. They got 2 metal chair things, mounted off things, where if you want to play checkers, you can, and whatnot. That's where you usually sit down and eat. So I sit on one of them right there, and his bed's right there, like where you can reach out, like arms reach. You know what I'm saying? Like it's boom right there. And I'm talking to dude, and I'm like, so, man, what you locked up for? By this time, I got my time. I'm being shipped around. I got my 10 years. I'm being shipped around. I'm like, what are you in here for? I got a burglary second charge and receiving stolen property. They hit me up. They give me the dirty on the first time around. And he's like, man, this time I'm only 23 years old. I don't have a gray beard, nothing like that, you know, I got shorter hair. I ain't got a hat on and all that, you know what I mean? But, anyway, you know, Chevrolet hat, gotta rock that. Anyway, we get to chopping it up. I was like, what are you in here for? You know, you're not really supposed to come out and say that, you know. But I'd already told him my charges, and I knew something wasn't right by talking to this man. So I just straight asked, what are you in here for? Oh, man, I got 5 years. I was like, 5 years? What'd you do to get 5 years? You know? He's like, oh, man, I tried to steal a car. And the way he was shaking about it and stuff like that. And I was like, you got 5 years? He's like, yeah, 85%. I said, you got 5 years at 85% for trying to steal a car? Now, I know it's a lie. It's bullshit. 5 years at 85% is most definitely, without paperwork, a cho. 1,000%. 5 years at 85 is definitely no good. You got to go now. I still off on dude. Don't ask, don't talk to nobody. Still off on him. Nobody sees it. Close the door. And proceed to put this in my bag. Put this in my bag. Put this in my bag. This dude was just, you know, a heavy-set dude. He wasn't very big, you know, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Bad charge, doesn't know. Now I said, what's your real charge? I said, what was it, under or over? 8? Under or over? Under. I said, yeah, keep putting that in the bag. I said, this is what I'm taking every commissary day. This is the lick that I need because I have no help from home. I said, put it in the bag every commissary day. This is what I want. He does this, and people start, and like I said, people are nosy in jail. They start watching, you know. His bunkie wasn't in there at the time, and he was gone to wreck or something like that. So, you know, he don't even know who he's bunked up with. So I'm trying to get money because I don't have no money. I'm getting money now. Big money now. I'm eating good now. And people start noticing I'm eating good. So I'm breaking bread with people I kick it with and all that. Every store day, they notice he keeps bringing me food down. And they think that I'm just kicking it with this dude. 6 months. I'm getting $125 in commissary a week. I think at that time that was all you can get in 2004. Like 125, 150 or something like that. Right, it might have been 200. I was letting him keep a little bit so it wasn't looking like, you know, anything going ocean, like it wasn't an ocean. I was trying to make it look less conspicuously. You know what I'm saying, man? Trying to be slick and all that. So it worked for about 6 months. 6 months later, we in church. Dude finds out about his charges. He's got a life sentence. He ain't ever going home. Like I said, we in jail. Still waiting to go to prison in Kentucky. And we're in Fulton County. One of the worst jails you could ever go to. Big black dude hears about it. He don't even ask. Steals off on him in the church. Bam, 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 bam. Skin hitting skin. I mean, you could, and when he fell, you could just, he was just donkey jumping in the air and stomping his head, like coming down on his head. And I knew this dude was expired from the sound of him holding up and jumping 4 foot in the air and coming down on this dude's head. And this dude weighs about 275 pounds solid muscle. 6'8". Just a big dude with dreads. Jumps up and just is smashing his white shoes all red. All red. Now in Kentucky, I don't know if these Bloods and Crips and stuff much. I've heard people claim the sets, Bloods and Crips and all that, but I don't know for 100% sure. You know, most of the time we proclaim cities. Lex, Louisville, you know, Richmond, whatever the case might be, you know. Mine was, you know, Ezell, West Liberty, all that stuff, you know. But that would be, we didn't have no gangs and stuff in Eastern Kentucky at that time where I was at, and, you know, we didn't. The biggest city closest to me was Moorhead. So, dude is, he expires right there before they can, because all the inmates ain't gonna let that one guard, and we don't have no rules saying you can't break up a fight if you see this. Like, he could have rushed in and stopped it if he wanted, but he didn't. It took a while for his backup to get there. When they got there, though, we already had our shirts wrapped around our face because we knew we was gonna smell that pepper spray. Like, they painted him. They had the big, it looks like a damn, like a fire, one of those things you put the fire out with, like a fire hose thing, like one of them things you hang on. I got one around here somewhere. Fire extinguisher. They had those fire extinguishers. That's what we called them because it looks like it's a big ass CO2 paint can, like it looked like a paint can, big old, but it's mace. This stuff is built to bring down a bear. They paint him orange. You see the street, the whole big line, a line big enough to cross your whole face, and paint a strip at least 6 inches wide. Shoosh, turns the can sideways. Shoosh, 8 inches of spray, 6 to 8 inches of spray wide. Paint him orange. Shakes it off and it's still jumping. Boom, 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 boom. They shut the door. Now, here's how I know that I think the dude expired. He's by now messed on himself. His bowels has moved. Everything's happened. Anyway, they said, okay, I got something for you. Now, we knew what was coming. If you ain't in a plastic chair and standing on it, your ass is going to get electrocuted. He's standing by steel table legs and still doing it. And pepper sprayed. So we holding that and we're up in our chairs. We know what's coming. They pour 3 5-gallon buckets of water on the floor. They got a shock shield. Boom! Hit that shock shield. Boom! Dude goes, bam! Boom! They rush him. Boom! Rush in, cuff him up, take him out of there, bounce him off every fucking door, wall, everything on the way low for making them do it and all that shit. Nurses come in. They take all us back, and you can see out your door. The ambulance comes in, and they got a white sheet over, dude. They ain't even trying to hurry. And that's what happened. Jailhouse religion, baby. Love you guys. Keep it real. Keep it 100. I'll talk to y'all soon.